The sandstorm came like a wall of rage, swallowing everything in its path. The SEALs were pinned down, their vehicles buried, their radios crackling with desperate static. Someone shouted, "There's no escape." It wasn't fear, it was certainty. And in that moment, when every breath tasted like grit, a woman's voice cut through the chaos like a calm in the eye of a hurricane. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. Her name was Sergeant Elara Quinn, though the men around her rarely said it aloud. In the unit, she was known as the quiet one, the sniper who never bragged, never made noise. She kept to herself, not because she didn't belong, but because she had learned that silence was often the only way to be heard in a world that didn't. To expect her to be anything but ordinary. The mission had started like any other, a reconnaissance push into a hostile desert region. Intelligence that suggested a high-value target was moving through the area. The SEAL team was tasked with intercepting him. But the enemy was waiting. They had been waiting. And when the storm rolled in, it wasn't natural. It was tactical. He used it as a cover, as a weapon. The sandstorm made everything impossible. Visibility dropped to almost nothing. The world shrank to a few feet in every direction. The air was thick, a choking blend of dust and heat. Even the strongest men coughed, eyes watering, voices turning into hoarse whispers. Every sound was swallowed. Every step was uncertain. Then the enemy attacked. The first shots came from everywhere. The ground shook under the impact. Men shouted names. The SEALs tried to regroup, but the storm had stripped them of their advantage. Their equipment malfunctioned. Their comms crackled. Their sense of direction vanished. It felt like the desert itself was closing in. Elara watched them fall back, saw the panic flare in their eyes. She felt it too, the fear that made your hands shake and your heart race. But she didn't let it take control. She had trained for moments like this, when the world becomes a blur and every decision matters. She tightened her grip on her rifle and took a breath that tasted like iron and grit. The SEALs called it no escape. Elara didn't believe them. She remembered something her mentor once told her. In a storm, the path is still there. You just have to be brave enough to look for it. She scanned the landscape, though there was almost nothing to see. The storm made the desert look like a moving wall of brown. The enemy positions were hidden, but she could hear them. Not clearly, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to know where the danger was coming from. And the SEAL team was pinned at the center of the storm, trapped between rocks and enemy fire. The only exit route was blocked by a line of snipers and machine gunners hidden in the dunes. The SEALs were out of options. Their commander's face was a mask of exhaustion and anger. He looked at Elara as if daring her to say the words he didn't want to hear. "We can't get out," he said. Elara's heart hammered. She knew the weight of those words. She knew what it meant to be trapped. But she also knew something else. The enemy had the advantage because they believed the storm made them invisible. They were wrong. The storm didn't hide them. It hid everyone. It hid the SEALs, it hid the path, it hid Elara's chances. She made a decision. She lifted her rifle and aimed into the swirling sand. Her hands were steady, but her mind was not calm. She could feel the moral weight of what she was about to do. Every shot could reveal their position. Every shot could draw more fire. Every shot could mean the difference between life and death. Still, she fired. The first shot rang out, swallowed almost instantly by the storm. The enemy didn't react. They couldn't see her. They didn't know where the sound came from. Elara did. She fired again. And again. She adjusted her aim not by sight, but by sound, by intuition, by training. She listened for the slight changes in the air, the way the sand shifted after a shot. She watched for the faintest movement in the storm, a shape that shouldn't be there. The SEALs watched her, stunned. They had never seen anyone shoot like this in a storm. They had never seen anyone keep such calm when the world was falling apart. Elara's 27th shot rang out, and the enemy line broke. Not because she was perfect, because she refused to stop. The sandstorm began to shift, and the enemy, now uncertain, began to retreat. The SEALs moved like a tide, coordinated and fast, following the path Elara had carved through the chaos. They sprinted toward the exit, using the cover of the storm and the confusion she had created. When they finally broke free, the storm began to thin. The sun returned like a judge. The SEAL commander looked at Elara with a new expression, not disbelief, but respect. His voice was quiet when he spoke. You did the impossible, he said. Lara looked down at her hands, shaking from adrenaline and exhaustion. She didn't feel like a hero. She felt like a person who had simply refused to accept the end. The moral tension of the mission lingered, though. She wondered if she had done the right thing by drawing fire. Her actions had risked others. If the lives saved justified the chaos she created. She thought about the men who had already fallen, and she felt a grief that didn't leave. But then she saw the seals, alive, breathing, moving toward safety. She saw the gratitude in their eyes. She heard the whispers of awe and respect. In the end, she realized something. Courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet decision in the middle of a storm. Because bravery isn't the absence of fear, it's the choice to act despite it. And the storm that almost swallowed them became the moment that saved them all. If this story touched you, share where you're watching from in the comments. I love hearing from you. And if you believe courage can come from anyone, subscribe to Whispered Words for more true-style mission stories that stay with you. Because when the world says there's no escape, someone will always find a way out.